Got a few little projects going on. A couple of parts I want to make for my wife's motorcycle, and ordered a new set of dies. I've got a Pro Tools 105 manual bender that I converted to hydraulic. Ordered the dies for it. Said, come in, get it going. And well, here's what we ended up with. Yeah, when you don't use stuff for a while, you have issues. And unfortunately, the wheels fell off of it. I've got some little bit heavier duty casters here that I'm going to use. So, got this piece of angle iron, bolt these pieces to it, weld them onto the ends of the stand. Be great, right? Yeah, not so much. Got to use my bandsaw, and I don't know if you can really tell by looking at it or not, but it's not been cutting the straightest as of late. I don't know if you can you can see how kind of crooked the cut is. Very not good. So I decided, well, maybe I need to adjust it. Decided maybe I needed to adjust it. Broke it down. This little piece right here is an adjuster. Just out of blade tracks. Yeah, it's broke. So I've got to make a new one of those. But looking at it, stand that holds the upper guide, it's bent. It's a cheap Chinese import horizontal bandsaw. I've had this thing since I've started fabricating. Close to 30 years, I guess. Probably 25, at least 25 years I've had it. So I'm going to make a new one of these. I'm actually going to machine this out of a piece of solid stock. Make a thicker plate for the base here, so that way it won't twist and flex like this one has. Said I'm getting ready to make a new adjuster. I'm going to turn you around there in just a second to the milling machine. The guide on it, this stuff is cast steel, so it's not very accurate. So I'm actually taking a little bit larger shoulder. I'm actually going to take a bolt, cut it down. It's going to be the simplest way to do it. Drill an offset hole in it. It'll be great, but I've got the machine out the slot for the bolt because it's a little bit larger to tighten up our clearances. So hopefully I'm going to run you through some of this stuff, some of my things, but as a lot of us out here, we buy used equipment, we buy old equipment, or we've had equipment forever. Bandsaw was used when I got it, so there's no telling how old the thing is. You gotta fix stuff, and a lot of times we spend more time fixing stuff than we do actually making what we want to make. But here, let me turn you around. Let's look at the milling machine, and let's get this rolling. Bolt here, just going to slide right into it. It fits in there now. Gets kind of snug towards the back, but I want it to be really snug. The original one was actually just a 12 millimeter, and you can't tell, but I mean there's a lot of slop in that thing. So we're going to machine it out. So we got a really snug fit all the way up. Then I'm going to cut the threads off, and we're going to mill down to the top of the head so it's not so thick, and then we're going to drill a offset hole in it so we've got an adjuster. We'll go through some of that here in a few minutes, but got the new phase converter up and running, so that's going to be, this is actually our first cut here at this shop with this setup, so perfect. I'm actually going to set this up and face this piece here a little bit also. It's got some angle to it. One of the guide pulleys, actually the one that takes pressure from the blade so you can adjust it in and out, it rides up against this, and I think I have a few little clearance issues there, and this one here, if you can see, it's got a lot of taper inside there. I'm going to clean that out. I'm going to clean this surface up here and see what we can bring around on it. This thing's not very parallel anywhere around. I may do is set this thing up, see if we can fly cut it, get it a little bit flatter, get it at least hopefully somewhat square with this base. As I put it in, it tries to lift up. About 2/1000ths out. I'm going to call that good. Like I said, this is not a fine-tuned piece that we're messing with. I guarantee you the rest of this thing is way further off than that. So we're going to roll with that. Took off about 12/1000ths total. We better finish. It should be pretty much parallel with this side and square now, hopefully. So now we can do the next setup, try to true up the other pieces. Alright, as you can see here, smooth that out so it should help run a little more true. Just open that up. Got this surface here square with this, close enough. Open this up so the adjuster will work the way we want. Squared that off. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up and surface this section here, so that way whenever I'm putting the adjuster in, it's sitting on a flat, a little more square surface. I think with a little bit of cleanup, I think this thing will live another 25 years. We're going to do that, clean this up, get it ready, then we're going to machine out the adjuster. I went ahead and cut our bolt off approximately. What I need is about 400/1000ths from the shoulder to the top. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and machine this down to the thickness we want to make it easier to measure out our total height. 400 from here to here. So we're at 735. $550. Alright, so here we go. Out of a regular old grade 5 bolt, we've got our simple adjuster. We're going to move on to the next phase now. I'm going to see if I can find a piece of steel so we can machine out the other bracket. Last you saw, we had just finished machining just this upright right here. Got to looking and realized that, well, there's another one that needed to be worked on also. This one here, you can see I have patched it before. I actually had to weld a new piece in it. It broke off, and it was just something I had to throw together to be able to finish up the job. And of course, never thought about it anymore, so I decided the best thing to do is go ahead and make another one of those. The reason why I went ahead and remade this thing here is, I mean, as you can tell, I hope see how bent it is. I mean, this thing is just really, really lightweight. So what I did was I took a 2-inch piece of flat stock, machined it out 200 thousandths deep, which is all you need for it to be able to ride on the guides that are on the saw. Spacing in between is 997 thousandths, I believe. It was using 3/4 inch end mill. I had to move back and forth 790 thousandths to get my actual width. I did change a couple of things. Like I said, I made this a little bit longer to get me a little bit more travel. This is the upper one. And I wanted to be able to get it down closer to my table because I've made a small table so I can use it as a horizontal bandsaw also. There's a couple of little tweaks I may do on the table also because it's just actually supported just by this bottom piece here, which, you know, is going to be a lot more stout now. So in comparison, this is our new one. This is the old one, and this is the old, and this is the new. Paint this stuff up, let it dry, and we're going to throw it on the saw and give it a test run and see how it goes. Alright, we got the brackets bolted back together, got our adjusters and all fitted up, got the assembly bolted back on. I did go ahead and do some fine adjusting on it. I got to make another cover for it also. The hinge and stuff is broke on it, but seems to work well. Took a little adjusting to get the blades to come back in line like they need to be, but everything seems to be good. It's tracking well. As far as squareness, when it's down, all the way down, When it's all the way down, it used to be pretty square with the blade. I don't know if you can really see that, but that aspect of it looks really good. I'm really satisfied with that. You can always, adjust your fence here to, I always adjust my fence squared up with the blade if I ever turn it any. One of the issues that I've always fought with this bandsaw is cutting square. And when I say square, when it's making the actual cut down, it would never seem quite square. And what the issue is, I'll show you here in a second, this plane of this hinge is not square with the surface here. So what needs to happen, actually on this one, I need to be able to adjust these to bring it up and down. I'm going to have to make some adjusters. Something similar to what I made back here is what I'm thinking. That should help me get it back in line. But I'll show you what the problem is if you're cutting anything, this will cut a 6-inch flat plate, but it won't cut something 6 inches deep. But if you're cutting a 4-inch piece or 3.5-inch piece, piece of 2x3 or something like that, the problem's going to be when you get this set here, this thing is square at the final cut. Look how much this blade pulls away from this square sitting on the surface. Let's see if I can get a little bit better angle on this for you. This thing pulls away, I mean, a huge amount. Let's see here. There we go. You can see how far it's out. I mean, that is just crazy ridiculous. You start getting closer to 2-inch, you're still 1/8 of an inch off when you cut from top to bottom. It's definitely not acceptable. So I will be coming in and making some adjustments on here. Just not today, unfortunately. But that'll be a video for another day when we tear this thing apart. I do have a crack in my hinge. I want to machine out a piece to fix that, and then make some adjusters for this thing. But overall, as far as the tracking of the blade, I think it's going to cut. It's going to cut as true as it can, straight down. It's not going to have a walk to it like I was having before. I think the guides are definitely going to be more rigid. It's going to hold up a lot better. Overall, I think it's pretty decent. So the main things I wanted to focus on today was making these brackets and setting all that up. They turned out really well. I mean, they're very rigid. It doesn't have any flex and slop and play to it now. Pretty happy with it. If you got any questions, anything you'd like to know about it, just drop me a line. Ask your questions down in the comments or what have you, and I'll do my best to answer them. Hopefully before long the other video will come along, but I've got some parts and pieces I need to get made. That was the purpose for fixing this, and I think it's going to be as good as I need for what I'm doing. I mean, right now I'm just putting some casters on my bender, so I mean it'll be fine for that. But we'll make another video of replacing the cover. You can see my little table that I've made for it there. I'll show you some stuff on it about how I want to make a quick release with a couple of braces in it to help hold that in place instead of just relying on the bracket. And hopefully we'll be able to take this thing the rest of the way apart and fix the hinges and stuff on it too. So keep an eye out for it, and we'll see you later.